this thing comes up about spiritual teachers, you know, the the idea which I used to hold in such a hardcore to such a hardcore degree of being a spiritual teacher means being perfect, you know, being enlightened. In other words, being awake means being totally freaking not having any bad habits, having 100% control of your emotions and all kinds of stuff like that, let alone superpowers. And while I fully admit straight up that I'm still just walking my path, like I don't know anything about what it's like to get to some kind of end goal. Like I have no sense of that. Um, but as the humbling has happened and the deepening and by grace, the letting go of a lot of the illusions and the ideas that are a distraction and kind of a trap for the mind. By virtue of those being let go of, there's more of a recognition that those are just notions. Those are just more thoughts. And Nisargadatta Maharaj, his picture I have right here actually. He's such a crazy guy. He sold beady cigarettes in Mumbai and Bombay, um, and just had a deep awakening, just on the path of self inquiry, of just staying with the I am, the sense of I am. That's all I know for sure is that I am. And he said the only test to see if someone's a true master or not is to see how you feel in their presence. And nothing else matters in terms of watching the behavior and kind of, using the mind, what we have, these ideas we have from the past, what makes someone legit or not, whatever standards we might have. And then there's also the whole teaching about it's not about the master, it's about the student. How sincere is the student, and how devoted are they, and how committed are they, and sincerity and earnestness are such an important part of the journey. And as I, for example, share these videos, and I'm like, for a long time there was all kinds of complexes around that, and because it's like, oh, I'm not finished with my work, like I'm not there yet, wherever there is, and it's like, what I could say for sure is that I know I don't want to do anything to pollute my own experience of coming to wholeness, recognizing myself in the whole as the whole. I wouldn't want to do anything to compromise that. And and while there's still identification that happens here, I would never want to have some ideas of being a special kind of being, because the love and the passion is about talking about this stuff, about the truth and the path to truth. And anything that takes me away from the juicy goodness, like the fresh, abundant miracle of remembering humility, anything that takes me from that is just not serving me. So I see that in my role as a student when I'm with my teacher, and in the past I've been with a bunch of different teachers, and if they would let themselves get polluted by this idea like I'm special, I'm better than these other people that might touch my feet or whatnot, it's like, that's just hurting them, that just shows that they're not legit. And so, like, I trust that that they wouldn't want to do that. Like I could just feel, the sincerity, and then also recognize common sense. Like, oh man, that's too bad. If they do let it go to their heads, then that just doesn't serve them. But if I'm going to be a true student, that means I'm just going to be open. Of course, listen to my common sense and be in places that feel safe and okay, let alone high vibe. And basically, I could trust my own ability to be discerning and to choose what feels right and where feels right. So all this is to say that for me and my experience on my path, and as there's so much fear out there about because we've been in this kind of patriarchal system for so long and these hierarchical kind of like domination paradigm stuff, that there's a lot of fear around spiritual circles, spiritual communities, and gurus and stuff like that. And there's a lot of hype about, power trips and stuff. And it's like, if I really want the truth, then first of all, I could trust myself, trust my integrity, trust my intuition enough to be guided where I need to be. And I also can trust that most people that seem genuine, that I mean, that their aspirations for bathing in love as much as possible seem genuine, then why would they compromise that? You know, I think a lot of the fear is unnecessary, and if people aren't necessarily drawn to seeing the path as deep through as other people, that's fine because everybody has their own path, and not everybody wants to experience the ego death, so to speak, while still in the body. My teacher says, enlightenment is like this sweet word for the ego, but if it was called the most accurate term possible, this spiritual journey, it would be death. But that's not as charming and appealing for most folks. But it's really about the death of the separate one, and um, and that's why, just to tie into that thing about the behaviors, it's like as when the from my humble understanding, from when the ego death happens more and more, there's less attachment to what the body mind does. So there's less discipline. There's less self, ideas about how to present oneself. So people look at you in a certain way and respect you because you're acting holy all the time. There's less of that. There's more just freedom. There's more just being like a baby. So anyway, it's a little late. I'm a little tired. How this made sense and stuff. And namaste so much.